So currently we have a trade-in event in World of Tanks. Now to get to there, you need to go to the store page, which is at the top here. And then on the very left-hand side, at the very top, you will see the trade-in program. From here, you can then select your tank, which you would like to trade in. It doesn't really matter for me. I'm not going to be trading anything, but just for argument's sake, let's say my most expensive one. Now, one thing to note is that you can trade in bond vehicles, which you get by going all the way down the bottom here, bottom left. Any one that you spend here that is a tier 8, such as the IS-5 or even the Alpine Tiger, which I believe is the highest gold value that you can get. So if you purchase this for 8,000 bonds, you could trade it in to get a different tank. But moving back to the trade-in. So once you've selected your vehicle, you can then select your vehicle that you would like to trade in for. And then you will see the gold value difference that you will have to pay to be able to get that vehicle. So for example, if I wanted a Lerva, I would have to pay nearly 6,000 gold for basically converting my AMX into a Lerva. Now, it doesn't really seem worth it, does it, to pay an extra 6,000 gold when, you know, you're getting basically half the price of whatever this tank is. But at the same time, if you didn't pay real gold for it, it's kind of worth it in that regard. So what vehicles should you be thinking about getting? Well, this time round, the trade-in vehicles are actually pretty decent. Bizonte's here, got Defender if you really want a Defender. I mean, I wouldn't suggest getting a Defender, but, you know, if you want one, you can get one. But you can get very, very nice deals such as a TS5 for only 3,500 gold if you traded in, say, an MX. You can get a 112 if you want to. 112 is very good for blocking missions. And that's about it, to be honest. But, you know, it's there if you want it. But if you scroll down a little bit more, you can get a LIS. You can get a CS52 LIS for dirt cheap. Like 1,400 gold for a LIS? That's a pretty good deal. I'm not going to lie. You can also get a Lance and C for the same price. These are very, very good deals indeed. Avoid the FE4202 like the plague. But you can also get, which I think is the greatest deal of all, an EOS even 90 for 550 gold. And if you use the Alpine Tiger, I believe this goes all the way down to 300 gold. So if you have a spare 8,000 bonds lying around and you want an even 90, trade in an Alpine Tiger, get an EOS even 90 for 300 gold. You could also get a Hawk 30 for exactly the same price as the ELC. I would not get a Senlac. I would not get a T92. But there's lots of decent deals this time round. You know, you could get a Chrysler K if you wanted to. Although you could also just get one for 8,000 bonds. So keep that in consideration. The Kampfpanzer is a very nice tank to play with. The 50 TP prototype. Like, there are so many nice tanks this time round. Now, I am just going to quickly speak about some of the tanks that you shouldn't get, because either the gold value isn't really aligned with, like, good price, like, it's not really worth it, or the tank is just outright bad. The Defender is awful, okay? No matter what people say to you, the gun is derpy, the turret is useless, and it's slow. The Defender used to be some OP god tier tank. And then the BZ-176 came in, the Skoda 256 came in, and now it's useless because the turret will just easily get penned. Can I even preview it? No, I can't go and preview it. Oh, well. But the turret has two massive cupolas that you can easily hit. The gun won't hit anything. I love it how it says reliable armor and a powerful gun. No. The Canonian Jagdpanzer 105. No, don't get it. Like, the gun is nice and got decent maneuverability, but it's just such an awful platform, man. It's got no gun arc, like, at all. So when you're using it, the gun arc is so narrow that you're going to have to keep turning your tank to be able to shoot stuff. And yes, the gun is nice. Like, you know, 390 alpha, decent enough DPM, very nice shell velocity, and very nice just rounds in general. But that's it. That's the only thing that's good about it. And if you're shooting at longer ranges, it's not like an STRV where you are going to be hitting absolutely everything. So it's not worth getting anything for the trainer, especially at 9,500 gold. That is an expensive vehicle for what it is. If you could pick it up for, say, 300 gold, like the ELC even 90, then maybe, you know, maybe that's a decent enough deal, because it's not a tank that is completely useless, because the gun does work. But it is awful compared to basically every other tank destroyer. I personally wouldn't get a T-54 Mod 1. Yes, it does have armor, and yes, you can side scrape in it, and it is nice in that regard, but the gun is a little bit derpy, and 190 standard pen is not going to cut it nowadays in World of Tanks. Like, you need at least over 200, maybe like 210 AP to feel like you are somewhat usable in tier 8. Combine that with kind of a longish reload for 250 alpha, it just doesn't really feel like it slots in anymore. And it's kind of sad because this was actually a very nice tank when it first got released, but it's been power crept. Like, it's not... The thing is, why would you buy this when you get a list? And you can get a list out of this list. And it's cheaper. So it doesn't really make sense. As you can see, it is over 1,000 gold cheaper than the T-54 Mod 1. So, I don't know, it's so behind the meta. And, like, not even the meta, it's just so behind usability in nowadays World of Tanks. So, yeah, don't get a T-54 Mod 1. The Ram Panzer, I would avoid again, although it is cheap enough to be like, you could use it. But the only main problem with this tank is its massive cupola on top of the tank. And again, you're looking at this and you're going, okay, I could get this. And you look directly next to it and see a list. You see the problem? It's not really worth it. Again, if this was like 300 gold, maybe. But I wouldn't spend 1,500 gold on it. The FV4202. Now, I do not like this tank. Partly because it has not been touched in many, many, many years. A bit like the T-54 Mod 1. It doesn't get good alpha damage. Doesn't really get a good reload. And the armor is... How do I put this? Non-existent most of the time. But you will just get randomly penned when you go hold down. It's like a Centurion Action 10 at tier 8 with no DPM and no alpha. It's like... if you've played the Centurion Action 10, you know that when you go hold down, sometimes you will just get randomly penned in the turret. And that is exactly how the FE4202 works. It's got a very, very similar turret. M4A1 Rev, again, it's behind the times. If it had better standard pen, it would be really nice, actually. But it doesn't, so it's not worth getting. And the Senlac, why would you... The Senlac and the T92, I don't know why these are in here. I mean, I guess for tank collectors, right? But then if you're a tank collector, you're not going to be trading in another tank. So, again, actually, you know what? No, I don't understand why these are in here. Because if you're going to be getting a light tank, you get one of these two. The Hawk 30 is actually very nice because it's fast enough and you can play it like a medium tank. It gets better DPM than a Patriot with arguably a better gun. Like, the Hawk 30 is super nice as just a pure, like, damage light tank. It gets faster heat rounds than the APCR shell velocity on its standard rounds. I don't know either. And it gets 250 heat, which makes it one of the best damage dealing high pen, like premium round light tanks in the game at tier 8. So the Hawk 30 is super, super nice if you do want a tank that can perform the scouting role, but then can also go and deal damage around the map. It also looks like a little mini Leo, and I kind of like it for that. So, I don't know. The Hawk 30 holds a little special place in my heart, so... But the EVA 90, like, this is by far just... It's the best pure scouting light tank at tier 8. And probably tier 9, not quite tier 10. This thing will not get detected unless you go into proximity range or they make a mistake. Like, it just will not get detected. If you put low noise exhaust on it, you have CVS and you've got optics, you are not getting detected and you are spotting everything. It is that stealthy. So that has been my little video on these vehicles. Everything else that I didn't mention is up for debate whether or not you want to get it. You know, like the Turtle, it will fit some people's playstyles. The 122TM, again, it will fit some people's playstyles. Even the Skoda. You know, all of these other ones that I haven't mentioned are just there for you to kind of decide for yourself. As much as I don't like the Bizonte, it's there. Some people will like it. So, you know, I'm not going to you know, discourage people from buying something that they might enjoy. But for the tanks that I mentioned, I would seriously consider avoiding them because they aren't really, one, what you might think they are, and two, just not worth it for the price. So, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and I'll see you all in the next video.